So one of the things I want to try doing in this new year, 2024, is read more books. Not just like manga, but I kind of want to read just more books in general. And for me, the hardest thing is always finding books about stuff that I'm interested in, because I never really read that many books. It's always like manga or something along those lines. But I want to get back into actual books with like just no pictures aside from just what's on the front and the back of the book. Maybe a couple of pictures scattered throughout the interior of the book, but not completely from front to back. So I did pick up a few books in preparation to get me started. They're all about Japan or conflict with Japan and two other Asian countries. So we'll start with some of the books that I want to read this year, or at least attempt to read. And then maybe a little further on in the year, I'll make a video about some of the other books that I am reading. But the first book I've already started reading last year, and that's Walking the Kiso Road. This guy, William Scott Wilson, guy who wrote the book, he hiked the Kiso Trail in Japan, like I think four or five times before writing this book. And I think during this book is his fifth time. I can't exactly remember, but he essentially is walking the Kiso Road and kind of giving a modern day exploration of old Japan. So in the beginning, it kind of starts with a history of the Kiso Road and kind of explaining what it was used for when it was built, who used it from when to when, and kind of what it is now, because a lot of it apparently is still similar to what it was when it was first constructed and used. So it's a very interesting book. It's very historical, and I like it so far. So if you're looking for a good book to read this year, Walking the Kiso Road is very good. You don't have to really be into Japan to enjoy it. It's just a good story if you're into that sort of stuff. And then next is you might have to be a little more into like Japanese history, is Samurai William. I think from Giles Milton is the guy's name. I think Giles is how you pronounce it. This is basically the story of a foreigner, somebody who was not from Japan. I think he was Englishman, so probably from England or America or Canada, one of those three countries that speak English as a primary language. He was the first Englishman to set foot in Japan, so in about April of 1600. So this is going back way far, so it had to have been a British man. And apparently he climbed the ranks of like the shogun to eventually become like a part of the ruling shogunate or something. It seemed like a very interesting book. I figured I'd want to try to read that as well. Because, I mean, if I'm going to read a book, I want it to be about something I'm interested in. And this is all stuff I'm interested in. And then we have Three Tigers, One Mountain. This is the book that is, it's a journey through the bitter history and current conflicts of China, Korea, and Japan, which I thought sounded very interesting because I know there's a lot of history between those three countries. So it would be interesting to kind of get a little bit of a history lesson on exactly what caused those conflicts and how they're dealing with them today and how they shaped each country individually. And then the last one is Snowflower and the Secret Fan. I thought this was kind of interesting. This is 19th century China. This in a remote Hunan county, a girl named Lily at the tender age of 7 is paired with a Lao Tong or Old Same. I guess I'll figure out what that means when I eventually get around to reading it. I really had no rhyme or reason to pick up books specifically about like Asian countries and histories and stuff like that. I guess it's just because I have been spending a lot of time reading manga and watching anime that Asian culture and stuff just kind of really piques my interest. I guess I just really find it really interesting. So these are some of the books I'm going to try to read this year, and I'll let you guys know how I like them.